Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reacts where today we have ourselves a track from an act named Deadwater titled Ashes. Now if we switch over to here, we have the official video for it. I've previously reviewed Siren Sound very recently, so it'd be great to hear more. This is off of their album, I think, titled Bloom. And we're going to listen through it from start to finish and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. What do we got? Wasn't expecting that progression there, but that's kind of neat.
In this dim lit hallway, shadows on the wall, I'm making friends with them all, stumbling, seeking something higher, like a drunk in the midnight choir. Of a dream, lost in spaces in between. The ocean burns, but it leaves no trace, just memories in its place. Can you hear me calling out your name through the darkness and through the rain? I'm searching for the light we used to know in the ashes of
Great trade-off here to the guitar, lead guitar, prominent through the intro as well.
These walls are closing in, holding on to a sin with a grin. Your eyes a storm I can't forget, 1,000 miles and I ain't there yet. Caught in the wake of a dream, lost in spaces in between. The ocean burns, but it leaves no trace, just memories in its place. Can you hear me calling out your name through the darkness and through the rain? I'm searching for the light we used to know in the ashes of the love that won't let go.
The use of pads here makes it sort of seem ethereal, doesn't it?
Every whisper and every lie and every year that I did not try, and all the words that I left unsaid, living in my head, yeah, killing in my head. And can you hear me calling out your name through the darkness and through the rain? I'm searching for the light we used to know in the ashes of a love that won't let go. Through the silence and through the rain, give me your hand, can see the pain. And through the silence and through the rain, give me your hand and can see the pain.
No, it was actually a really beautiful finish to that track. Solid amount of polish on it. We're going to talk about this track more in the conclusion. And so welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named Deadwater titled Ashes. So what do I think this track is about? I feel like this track is about someone who is feeling like they just haven't done enough for the person that they were with. They feel that like when they talk about lies and things they're unsaid and stuff like that, and how the ocean basically sort of like either washes things away or it's kind of getting like lost in the ocean is the memories themselves, I suppose. And you're calling out from the darkness in order to find that person, maybe it's out to sea, or maybe those things have been stripped away. I mean, either sure, it's I think it's about someone who's lost something really important to them and they're going through the grieving process and it's just a tricky time for them. And they want to reach out to that person to rekindle that love or kind of have things back to the way they used to be or to improve things. But it's just a sort of difficult situation for everyone involved. So I think that one of the things that's really effective with this track in terms, it's the guitar takes. And I know that's such a basic thing to say, especially with how prominent the guitar was throughout this piece, but it's the way that at the start of the song, for instance, the guitars, they kind of, well, like a siren song, you kind of hear how pretty they were with the reverb tails and everything like that. And it sounded gorgeous. It had an inherent sweetness that was almost like a selkie in the sea. And when you compare that with the subject matter, it kind of makes a lot of sense there. You can kind of, understand the connection there. The gentle nature of the steel strings as well just made it sound really kind of pretty and bright and cheery, and it never got too dark for its own good. And even when you did have sort of like solo sections, they were heavily soaked in the fixed chain, so they weren't trying to be sort of like prominent. They were basically sort of like fanning the ether, I suppose, of the situation. So whenever we had the guitar parts in this track, they typically contextually were very appropriate. They were really pleasant to listen to. And even though we had like more typical major and minor onto triads and chord progressions, whilst being different chord progressions between parts, they never sounded generic or disingenuous. I think also the composition itself was really effective. So we had again those rhythm and lead guitar parts that I mentioned, as well as the bass tracks there on the bottom with a nice amount of body to it. We also had some really pretty pads occasionally in the upper register there that were just really sort of well niched within the frequency spectrum there. They didn't interfere too much with what was going on top. I just love how the drums were handled and mixed as well. There was a nice sort of balance to the way the different toms, snares, kicks, etc. were put forward within the mix, and it was just really slick, honestly. Like just the very sort of quarter, eighth, and 16th grooves there, with the extensions from the other layers, creating not complicated overall harmonies, but well filled out ones with the 1st, 3rds, and 5ths, and any sort of susses that apply. There's just a lot of polish to making this song, I think, from a songwriter perspective, sound as balanced as it needs to be a sort of a quote-unquote catchy single, whilst again, not trying to sort of create its own sort of universe for you to live in whilst you hear it. That's not sort of easily replicable. I think I also want to talk about the studio production as the final thing. So that's really slick. I appreciate the polish with the vocals, guitar, drum, bass parts, and as well as the pads and other elements, particularly with like the EQing. So no it's sort of like resonant frequencies or anything like that. Things were well niched within the frequency spectrum there. Nothing was cutting into each other. The music surrounded you in the headphones. Things were nicely balanced within the stereo field without any confusion there. I think there was some interesting filtering to certain elements, like the vocals and the interlude section there before that final sort of chorus there. Having that sort of like radio effect on it makes it seem like it's a voice from far away there. It was just a cool way to sort of change up the track at that point as well, to make it more distinctive before a return. You're kind of artificially, I suppose, taking away that intensity to bring it back in for the big push, and when everything did come back in, it hit like a train without being too much. The song was nice and loud without pumping, and the bass compression and limiting was handled really well. And the vocals had nice presence in the mix without being overproduced. Ultimately, I feel like this is just another really solid track from Deadwater titled Ashes. In terms of constructive critique, I think that ultimately it's its own sort of beast, and I feel like it handles itself well here. The scope and measure and purpose of the track are clear, and I think it's done very, very well. But hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching my review of this track from X named Deadwater titled Ashes. If you like this track, please do go show them some love via their various social medias and their YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next SP Reacts. Spiderhands out.